Sagittarius, I don't know if you could see it on the sped up version, but a ton of cards fell out while I was shuffling, like a lot. So if things happen abruptly, I feel like it's important not to react too overtly and just kind of be willing to roll with the punches. You guys may be dealing with upset stomach this month, or things that really just like, you know, make your stomach hurt. Like that's like the phrase, like, oh, that turns my stomach. You know what I mean? The Fool and the Seven of Swords, I feel like you may need to make a undercover type of move for the best of your benefit, especially when it comes to work and money. There's a decision that I feel like has been pending for a while, or something that you need to do in order to set yourself free and get a completely fresh start for yourself. That is just, it's 100% for yourself with the Hermit and the Queen of Pentacles here. It's 100% about you, your desires, your ability to create the life that you want, to have the life that you want in terms of assets and physical, tangible things. But there's something that's making you nervous about it, because the Seven of Swords can be about just making sure your needs get met and not having to worry about everybody else, which is going to come across as selfish. And sometimes people do it strictly for selfish gain. But I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like in order to really get the fresh scratch start that you want, you're going to have to like take actions first and answer questions later. Okay? You're going to have to be very bold and very like courageous and have some people call you an a-hole, you know what I mean, for the moves that you're going to make. Because the Hermit and the Queen of Pentacles is saying, keep your money moves to yourself. And that the branch that you're about to step out onto is just for you. I feel like if you consult other people about what you should do financially, or about where your financial planning should be, or what job you should take, or what you should be investing in, what you should be working on, it's only going to cause more anxiety and confusion, because the Eight of Pentacles here with the Nine of Swords is saying that you're worried that you're working on something in vain, or you're worried that, you know, your job's not safe, or that, you know, something is off, right? Because there's an anxiety around where you've been putting all your time and attention. Okay, so if you feel like the job you're at now is like waiting to fire you, or, you know, you don't love it and there's only a matter of time before, you know, you have to leave anyways, like this would be like advice to start putting your resume out now type of thing. Okay. If you've been disagreeing with people about what the best plan is or whatever, I feel like it's important to just do what you got to do. He's carrying 5 swords. So I also feel like it's important to just cut yourself out of an argumentative dead end conversation as well. You don't need to explain yourself to anybody. Okay. You don't need to get permission for the things that you do. You're an adult. You're an independent person. Now, obviously, if your finances are tied up into somebody else's because you're married or something, yes, you do need to have a conversation. But in general, I feel like it's important to look out for your best interest in November, and not the interest of necessarily the whole. Okay. All right, Sagittarius. So really quickly as well, I am in the process of moving. So my personal reading schedule is a little bit altered from normal. So of course, all my info is in the description box. Get subscribed to my mailing list. I'm going to be doing a sale during my move time. And if you're having to wait longer and book further out for a private reading than normal, that's why. Just as a heads up. Anyways, I decided to pull this month because we're finishing up Venus retrograde, and it's going to be in Scorpio for, again, quite some time, and it is Scorpio season. Jeez. To pull a card from the Oracle of the Mermaids deck, and we have Endurance. Keep going. So that's a pretty straightforward message, and it's interesting because it adds to 7, and the 7 of Swords didn't come back up, but there is a huge message here about forward motion, okay, and that comes up here as well in what you need to release. But I feel like you've been dealing with this theme for a while of family versus personal, or tending to the whole versus tending to the individual, especially when it comes to money. and when it comes to work and when it comes to just feeling overall stable. Okay, your overall energy is the Knight of Cups. So I do feel that life is kind of slowing you down to an extent, not necessarily in a bad way, but I do feel like it's slowing you down to savor life in a way that you previously have not. Okay, and with endurance, keep going. Just because things are getting slow doesn't mean that's not the path for you. Okay, Scorpio season right before your solar return, I feel like is pushing you to really stop and smell the roses. And I feel like you're gaining an appreciation for the little things in life that you previously did not have. I feel like you're also paying attention to different levels of nuance that you didn't previously have attention to. Like, you may be able to connect with people telepathically that you're close with that you previously have not, or picking up on little cues that you previously were not. You might just be more open to living life in a different manner. I feel like you're finding a little bit more value in vulnerability as well. Now, don't get me wrong, the Knight of Cups is not super vulnerable. He does have a suit of armor on, but he is open and willing to offer that cup. He understands that you attract more bees with honey than vinegar type of thing, right? So there is a sweet edge that I feel like you are trying on for size, if you will. I feel like it's a role that you're trying. You're like, you know what, let me be nicer. Let me be kinder, not only to other people, but also to yourself. I feel like you're learning to lead with compassion and understanding as well. Not to undermine the message that I had for you originally about looking out for yourself, but one can look out for themselves without being a total D. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what Spirit is saying, to toe that line, to understand when to be compassionate with people, but also extend yourself that same compassion. And again, with endurance here, wherever you have gained momentum, again, even if it's seeming to slow down, I feel like forward, 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 forward is a really, really important message for you right now. Do not look back in any capacity. I feel like it's super important for you to not look back, Sagittarius, in any capacity. You have started rolling a ball in a very appropriate direction that if you were to try to stop it, it would take much more effort to try to stop it, turn it around, and reroute it than it would to just kind of nudge it forward, okay? What you're being asked to release, we have the Seven of Cups with the rune Wealth, and we have the Judgment card with the rune Fertility. So I feel like if you have at all been investing in the idea that something from your past can still bear fruit, especially when it comes to money or when it comes to opportunity, right, in whatever form, the answer is no. It's not. Because the Judgment card with Fertility, right, this is what you need to release. This is saying that you've had a tendency to invest mental space and emotional space on the past and what the past can bear you. If this could even be like you've been wanting closure on old things, or wondering if things had gone differently 6 months ago, 7 months ago, last July, how they would be different, right? But it doesn't matter because that's not what happened. You know what I'm saying? So there's a deep need this month to just, again, be okay with where you are, especially when it comes to the direction of your life. If you're a father, that, if you're a husband, that whole route, what it means to be a man, right? If you're a man watching this, as well as what you expect from men, regardless of your gender, and what it means to be a leader and be the autonomous, like, director of your life. So the Seven of Cups with Wealth is saying that all that glitters is not gold, okay? So sometimes we tend to romanticize the past as well. And if the past would have worked out the way that we thought it would, then it would have. You know, it's one of those type of things. You may be mulling over some regrets as well. And again, I think they're more stemmed in, well, what if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? But whatever is on your plate right now was inevitable. I feel like it's really important for you to know that. Because the Judgment with Fertility is saying that if you continue to sow seeds that are based on what did happen and not what is, I feel like that's going to confuse your harvest and again, slow you down. As well as, I don't think that you have a clear view of whatever this past situation is. Because judgment is also things coming back to get settled, right? So if you're trying to like rectify something within yourself that happened in the past, something that you felt like had a lot of juice behind it, know that it will reveal itself in time. And it's just not cut and dry. I feel like it's really important for you to know that whatever past situation you're trying to reconcile, it's not cut and dry. It's very nuanced and it's got a lot of layers to it. And if you try to analyze it, I don't think you're going to get very far. Okay. The door that's not open to you that was once closed, we have the Ten of Pentacles. I almost said Swords. With the rune Self, and we have the Eight of Swords. So some of you may be feeling like family is a big burden for you, or being responsible for your family is a big burden for you. For some of you, it's like being a family man is a burden for you. I also feel like some of you may be feeling like it's completely your responsibility to build the wealth of like what 5 people can do. Like, because sometimes with the Ten of Pentacles, we talk about inheritance, right? But with the rune Self, this is saying like, okay, it's just me, myself, and I'm the one that's in charge of taking care of my children and, you know, my spouse, or if there is no spouse, it's like everything is just on you. Plus you're also trying to, maybe you're at the age where you have to take care of your parents. So I feel like there is this fear and this self-imposed limitation that like everything is your responsibility. But with the Ten of Pentacles, that level of wealth and security has to be a group effort. Okay. I mean, technically you can achieve the Ten of Pentacles by yourself because if it's just talking about money, but if we're talking about the stability and the safety of a family unit, of several layers of generations, you can't get that alone, right? It's something that requires all parties to participate. Now, you may also be feeling isolated by your family, or kind of like the black sheep. You may have isolated from yourself from your family a long time ago for good reason, right? Because we can't always heal our family wounds with our family around. But in particularly this month, I feel like it's feeling very limiting, and you were wondering what it would be like to just have like a cohesive family unit or someone that you can count on. For others of you, I think that you're really mulling over in your head what life would have been like or would be like if the family unit that you personally did build or always wanted to build and you weren't able to, what it would grant you if you had that opportunity. I also feel like some of you are wondering if life would just be easier if you had more money, which to an extent is always true, right? Money would solve a lot of our problems. But I feel like the level of wealth that you're thinking about would require 2 people, or you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I'll never reach my financial goal as a single mother or as a single person or whatever. But it's important to, again, focus on things like you're focusing on something that you can't change. I feel that very strongly. This could also be like let's say you had a child with somebody years ago or even recently, right? And you guys aren't the family that like you don't have the family that you thought you would, right? It's a modern family or a different form of family. And I feel like you're thinking that's holding you back from actualizing something. Okay. But the Eight of Swords is always a victimized mentality. So it's important to remember that you're not seeing reality 100% clear. And again, that's why the compassion comes into play. The empathy for yourself comes coming into play. And remember that you have to support. With the Endurance card, you only see 2 of them, but there's another tail. So there's 3 people. There's a lot of people around you that want to support you. It just may not be in the form that you originally anticipated. This can also be like considering friends as family, like building your own family type of thing as well. Your current energy as it relates to all of this. In your head, we have the Eight of Pentacles. In your heart, the King of Swords with Death. And we have the Sun. On the Sun, we have the rune Trust. So this month, at the root of everything, it's really important that you trust what makes you happy and what makes you feel joyful, what makes you feel light, and what makes you feel inspired, right? Because when we don't have a feeling of lightness in our body, meaning like physically light, when we feel bogged down, that's usually a sign that we're either carrying too much emotional baggage, or we're putting way too much mental stress on ourselves, or we're doing things or investing in things energetically that don't serve us. So it's important to trust also what is seen. I feel like it's important for you to keep trusting that light at the end of the tunnel or that silver lining. If some of you have a child or children, I feel like it's important to trust any messages that your children give you, and it doesn't matter if that your children can even speak or not, okay? Because children are very magical beings and they're very, very connected to source in ways that adults have been long cut off from source, even with a lot of work. So I feel like it's important to like trust your child's judgment. If there's something that you've been unsure about and your child just like randomly like does something or gives you some type of indication or points to something or whatever, I feel like it's really, really important to trust what your child is saying to you, or the children that are around you are saying to you, because there's just a highly, highly, highly advanced intuitive body that they operate in. Now, I also feel like it's important to trust, again, the truth and what is seen, okay? Because the sun is a luminary. It illuminates everything that it touches. So you can trust what you see as well. I feel like that's really important, like, because you may be considering second guessing what is happening for you at this time, because in the past you've had something close to that, but it didn't plan out right. With the Eight of Pentacles in your headspace, I feel like it's important to keep your eye on the prize, whatever that prize is. And to, again, focus on your immediate reality, right? With the sun in the Eight of Pentacles here, focus on working through what brings you joy, building the happy life that you desire, okay? And focusing on how to also like fine tune your thought process. If you've been thinking about getting a new job and you've had a little bit of traction, but not a ton, again, I feel like it's important to just keep going, keep pounding away at it, if you will. And again, that feeds into endurance. With the King of Swords and the Death card in your heart space. With the King of Swords, I feel like there may be a desire or have been a desire to be very decisive about how you feel and be very like Caso Cerrado, like that's it, like case closed. I'm going to say this once and I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to make a final decision on how I feel. But I think you're going to learn here with Scorpio season, and with the Death card here, that there's nothing definitive about the emotional body. There's nothing definitive about love. So as much as we may want to make decisions and be 100% clear about how we feel, something could happen tomorrow that could drastically alter that truth, right? And that doesn't make us wishy-washy, and that doesn't make us unsure of how we feel. It just means that we're fluid, and that when we're open to life and open to experiencing life through our heart space, things are constantly bringing us to a new brink of death, right? A new transformation. So allow your heart to also change your mind. I feel like that's really important for you as well. If you were raised by a father figure who was very cold, potentially an air sign, but someone who didn't really know how to communicate emotions, was very stoic. If you had that as a what a man is supposed to be, or how this is how you're supposed to deal with emotions, like you don't talk about them, I feel like something has happened in your life, potentially the birth of a child, or again, a new sense of connection to your own personal truth. You're realizing that you have the power to alter that. And that, you know, through the transformation of death, you can constantly be reborn, right? And what you thought you loved can change, and it doesn't make anything right or wrong. It is, you know what I mean? Emotions are meant to be experienced, not defined. So don't be super quick to throw down the hammer, or like just make a very, very hard definitive decision based on your emotions. Allow them to be fluid, and allow yourself to be open to having a evolving truth every day. Spirit's advice on how to best navigate this energy. We have the Five of Wands coupled with the Nine of Pentacles, and on the Five of Wands we have luck. So this is so I feel like these are very tied together on what is becoming possible for you and what Spirit is advising you. Okay? Focus on, if you have a tendency to be belittled by your family or people telling you like you don't do enough, or, you know, are you ever going to have your own family? Like all those kind of things, right? Around acceptance from a larger group, because sometimes the Ten of Pentacles can be a society, right? Or a group, or even a culture like that you're supposed to adhere to. I feel like the Five of Wands with luck and the Nine of Pentacles is saying that you are your own independent person. And it's really important to do what brings you stability and what makes you feel secure. The Nine of Pentacles is also someone that dotes on themselves and has a lot to give. There may be people that find you to be very lucky or very affluent, or people that have a lot, you know, to be grateful for. And I don't think that you aren't. But make sure people aren't perceiving you in a way where they start coming for handouts. I feel like that's important too. Some of you may have come into more money than you usually have, and some people may be trying to get a handout from you, and you're kind of telling them like, hey, I may have gotten a better job, or I may have, you know, more money than I did before, but it's mine. Like I earned it. You know what I mean? So you may want to be less flashy than you normally are, or you may not want to advertise your salary to people, because I feel like you may have more attention than you want. Also, if you've been having to, again, shop the job market, if you will, or you're going up for a promotion or whatever, I feel like it will go in your favor with the Five of Wands accompanied with luck. I feel like, again, if you put your best foot forward, you will end up on top. Also, it's important to remember there is no competition when it comes to feeling your best self and being your best self. You are your only competition. Okay, like, so again, don't be afraid to step out and own your stuff. The most likely outcome moving into December, we have the Ace of Wands coupled with the Hierophant and the Star. On the Ace of Wands, we have the rune Destiny and the rune Journey. So that's kind of like the exact same message. Some of you may be getting your dream job offer going into Sagittarius season. You may be really finally hearing like, hey, you know, here's something that you've always wanted, you know, we're offering it to you, whatever, because the Hierophant is a contract and the Star is something that we have dreamed, like our dreams come true, right? So again, definitely keep applying for those jobs, reaching for the stars and doing all of that kind of stuff. For others of you, the Hierophant can be a commitment, right? But also I feel like this is about living your own version of status quo as well, and not allowing other people's standards or what your parents did or what your culture says you're supposed to do define what is possible for you. Because Destiny with Journey is saying that you are on a very, very spiritual path right now, regardless of how things look. You are on task and you are on your own personal journey. So it doesn't matter how many people are along for the ride and who wants to hop off the trolley or who wants to hop back on. You are on your own path, okay? Because the Destiny rune with the Journey rune is saying like this is something that is guided by a force much larger than, you know, humans. And the Ace of Wands is saying this is initiation. I feel like this is an initiation energy. With the Hierophant here, you may be deciding to get initiated into a religion, or you might start believing in a higher power in a way that you previously have not. And with the Star, it may be because you needed a miracle, right? And it finally came through for you. Or you saw something happen for somebody and you're like, you know what, I need to believe in something bigger because I need that kind of support. But I do feel like being willing to believe in yourself and keep your head up through any level of adversity that you're experiencing will benefit you greatly this month, okay? As always, if you need anything from me, links are all in the bio, and I'll be back with mid-month readings on my website. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.